It's just too much work for one woman. All right, and they're going up. I see 10 on there already. Hello, Cindy, Celine, Mishi, Ebony. Hello, hello, hello. And hopefully my girls will come back up here on YouTube. Welcome. Let's go. We got work to do. Let me go ahead and quickly grab a name. What did I do with the bag? Here we go. We're getting real slim. Let's see. It looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 names left. I probably got about maybe 3 books. I don't know. I'll have to order more, I guess. All right. My girls didn't come up yet. Come on. Where's my girls at who was on YouTube? Anna. We are up and running. Integrity Force. So she's able to get on. Awesome. Glory 888. Good evening, JLK. Got your workbook. Yes. Very good. Vanessa May. Barbara Mitchell. Good evening. Audria H. I see Jalen Lloyd. Welcome. We are up and running. Yes, we are. We are up and running. Herman 73. Thank y'all. Thank you. Thank you. Now we can get going. Facebook is doing her thing. Hello, Carla, Trish, Leah, Dawson. Good evening, everyone. All right. We did our mantra of welcomes. I don't see my girls back on YouTube. I hope they make it up okay. I hope they make it up there okay. All right. We're going to get started. How are we first doing? How are you doing? Who has the best seat in the house? Who owns it? Who owns it? You know, we've got homework to do, and in order to move on to pivotal people, it's pretty important that we get this done, because after pivotal people, we're going to move into the Lotus assessment, and that's when we get really, really heavy, and we're going to determine who are introverts and who are extroverts and who are choice people. Introverts, extroverts, and chance people. So we've got a lot of work to do. I'm so excited. A few of y'all have mentioned that you're going to work with me. I pulled 2 names who have already won. Just pulled Kareem Bowling and Nina Domina. They've already won, so their names going to the side. I'm pulling new names, so we're really getting down there. And the name I just pulled now says LC Ramos. LC Ramos is the winner on tonight. Is LC on tonight? Okay, I think something's going on, y'all, with my YouTube. Come on, I need all the minutes I can get tonight. And right now, if we start, we got 45 good minutes I need to be in. All right, very good. Thank you. Elia, Rosalind, YouTube is up and running. Very good, very good. Thank you, YouTubers. And thank you, Ebony, for switching back and forth like Misha to different pages to check us out. Make sure that we're doing well. And I see everyone up here finally. I see. Good. I see Biggs came in. I see y'all saying hello to Biggs. All right. Well, the winner tonight is LC Ramos. LC Ramos, if she's on here, please give us a big I won, so that we can take care of business with you tonight and bring you in to what is happening on Soul Detox, and make sure you have what it takes to do the work. LC Ramos, congratulations on tonight. I'm going to sit your name aside. Biggs, I know I'm still waiting to hear from you. If there's an address you want me to mail this to, or do you have a secret courier that we're going to pass it into their hands, let us know. I want to get this in your hands as soon as possible. I've had on the screen the book that we're using as our template. And this January, this is our 3rd year of doing 30 days in January. We are coming from the book Self Matters with Dr. Phil. It should have been showing up in your left-hand corner. Again, the winner for tonight is LC Ramos. People are saying congrats to her. Hey, Eagle Vision, I see you. Good, good, good. And we need to get started. We have so much work to cover. And I'm getting a little nervous now because we're down really to the core now. We have 9 days, I believe, left. 9 days. So we really have got to get this work done. Amen. All right. So here we go. Hopefully you've done your homework. If not, you've already hit a snag. And don't worry about it, because I have definitely 100% decided that after we finish these 30 days and I start doing my weekly broadcast, I'm going to cover one video a week, just making sure that you're going over your work. We're going to be available for phone calls. You can call in and ask for help, ask for questions, and we're going to make sure that you're getting everything done that needs to be done. Why? Because that is what change agents do. We make sure we bring change to your life by any means necessary. So we're moving tonight. We did a lot last night. Man, I've got to do last night's homework. I have to do myself, and I'm going to take some time tomorrow to do it. Didn't have any time between last night and today. I counted all day, y'all, and I literally finished my last appointment at 8:10, turned off my lamp, jumped in my car, zoomed home, threw a couple of wings down in my throat, sat right here in this chair and got these cameras going, because that's what commitment does. I want to shout out my husband, who cooked dinner and brought it to my office in Hartford so that I would have something nutritious and healthy and hot to eat for dinner tonight. So I thank God for a boo like that holds his wife down. We know how to switch aprons, and we know how to switch keys, and we know how to switch positions to get done what needs to get done for Team Howard. Amen. All right, y'all. We are in chapter 6, and we are down to 5 pivotal people. God, I got to get Elsie's jingle up. Nobody else has sent me a jingle. I haven't gotten any selfies in your t-shirts. I haven't gotten any videos with your jingle on them. And I was offering all kind of goodies last night, and nobody jumped on it. Well, that's all right. I'll keep free to me. Chapter 6, your 5 pivotal people. And our statement for tonight goes something like this. He who seeks for applause only from without has all his happiness in another's keeping. Isn't that something? Heavy, heavy, heavy. Absolutely. So let's go. The fear-induced, self-destructive determination that so many people demonstrate in suppressing who they authentically are is a never-ending source of amazement to me. When you think about how much life, energy, people devote to denying who they are and living who they aren't, you can't help being awed by the tragic enormity of it all. What a waste of talent and energy as we get into the complexities of adult living and try in vain to dance for so many masters. The drain of crucial life energy just gets worse and worse. In the complex lives we create with kids, parents, spouses, jobs, church, friends, and every other demand source, it may seem like you are trying to hold 10 of those childhood beach balls under the water all at once. Trying to be so many things to so many people, oftentimes when none of them are even almost who you really are, and can absolutely wear you to a frazzle. You are who you are, and the more you try to ignore the reality, the higher the cost is to you. You can be your own worst enemy, creating emotional and physical breakdown. The disconnect shows in extravagant from loved ones. From estrangement from loved ones, physical exhaustion and illness, frustration and inner turmoil. As if we don't do a good enough job of losing touch with our own authentic selves and sabotaging our own lives by settling for what we don't want, we frequently and tragically get help from those we encounter along the way. These helpers are among what we are defining as pivotal people in our lives. Maybe those people include your parents, spouse, or siblings. Maybe the pivotal people in life include teachers, friends, co-workers, Whoever these people are, they need to be genuinely a pivotal person in your life. Genuinely positive influences. And some may be horrible influences. But no matter how horrible they are, make no mistake, they are in your life and they have influenced you in some dimension. Certain other people do have a huge impact on the formation and context of your self-concept. Moreover, these people can, hit my page. Sorry, as Peyton says, sorry. She says it's so cute, like to get herself off the hook. Moreover, and content of your self-concept, moreover, these people can determine whether you live consistently with your authentic self or instead live with some counterfeit life controlled by a fictional self that has crowded out who you really are. You have encountered hundreds, maybe even thousands of people in your life who have had an impact. Yet research has shown that there are as few as 5 truly pivotal people who have left indelible impressions on your concept of self and therefore the life you live. Our goal in this chapter, in this teaching, is to identify and examine these people and the roles in your life. In one of my seminars years ago, sat a woman who appeared to be about 60, and in outward appearance was the picture of success. My initial impression of her, sitting there in the second row, was that she was somehow solid or hard, a powerful woman. She looked as if she might have stopped by on her way to a board meeting. The seminar was a weekend event, but she had clearly chosen not to dress down for it. Her dark suit was elegantly tailored, crisply pressed, and very expensive looking. Every strand of her silver hair appeared to have been set in place with deliberation and care. Her large hands were manicured, and a platinum bracelet gleamed on one wrist. Even more striking was the fact that she said not one word for the first 2 days of the weekend seminar. Ooh, weekend seminar. Y'all ready for a weekend seminar? Instead of 1 day, couple hours, we need a weekend seminar. I see a hotel coming. Weekend seminar. I gotta write that down. The program was designed to be a highly participative journey of self-discovery and self-disclosure. Yet, no matter how vocal the rest of the group became or how intense things got, this lady sat stoically, her hands folded in her lap, her jaw set, her gray eyes resisting contact with anyone else's. At those points in the seminar, when I normally would have solicited responses from each person in the room, I chose to bypass her. It was obvious to all of us that she wasn't going to say anything until she was ready. At about 10:30 in the morning of the third and last day, about a series of heartfelt, unburdening disclosure by a number of people in the room, there was a pause in the program as we got ready to move on to the next phase of the session. It was in the midst of that pause that this woman got slowly to her feet. Everybody immediately stopped what they were all doing. All eyes turned to Claire, our silent lady of detached composure. All of us sensed that we were about to hear something vitally important. She placed her hands on the back of the chair in front of her, gripping it so tightly that her knuckles were white. Finally, staring straight ahead, she spoke. His hands were heavy, she said in a voice that betrayed her apparent strength. His hands were rough. She paused. His strap was vicious. I recall that it took an effort of will on my part to break the spell she had unwittingly cast, but I encouraged her to go on. My mother was married to a man who beat her, she said. I was always so scared, so afraid that he would kill her. I wanted to help. I wanted to make him stop, but I couldn't. He made me sit on a cane-back chair and watch him as he beat her with his fists, his belt, and sometimes a broom handle he had broken over her leg with once when I was not around. He told me it was so I could learn some respect. Sometimes my mother would look at me through swollen and bloody eyes and shake her head, telling me not to move or get involved. She knew that I, too, was in danger. She was afraid that I would somehow provoke his anger toward me as well. Once, when I threw myself on top of my mother and cried and begged him to stop, he immediately steered, beating me along with my mother. I felt so hopeless. My mother and I couldn't help each other. We just had to take it and take it and take it. I was a little girl when it started, only 7 years old. I am now 64 years old, and I can still feel the fear. I still get dry mouth and sick to my stomach in 1 second when I think about it. Now her tears began to flow, and her voice was filled with so much pain that it was difficult to listen to. He beat me for the next 14 years. Nothing was too small or trivial to set him off. He would lay the strap across my backside and thighs until I bled. When he was beating me, he would scream vile and ugly things. You little bee, it's all your fault. You make me crazy with your whining and crying and constant money spending. I hate you for what you've done to me. I hope you're happy, you filthy little whore. I felt so guilty. I could go for days without eating anything because I knew our problems were because I cost so much to have around. Whew. I could never bring friends home because I was terrified at what might happen. At school, I would do anything to keep my legs from being seen. No one was going to see the marks that his strap had made on my body. It's strange to say it, but because of him, I learned to withdraw from my body. Whenever he beat me, I would lie there on my stomach with my face buried in my hand, and it was like I wasn't there somehow. It was so humiliating, so degrading, that I had just had to go away in my mind. I stopped being there anymore. It was like the real me was hovering above the bed, watching what was happening. Standing there by myself, she now looked surprisingly fragile and small. For the very first time, she looked around the room. She studied each of us, one face at a time, as if she had just read a news report in a foreign language and she needed to know whether a single person there had understood her. She looked for the judgment she had expected should her secret ever get out. She hung her head in shame, clearly wishing she could take back the truth that she had been so carefully hidden for 6 decades of her life. Another participant, a woman in the same row, approached and placed a consoling hand on her shoulder. She stiffened at first, then she relaxed a little. I've made a success of my business, Clear said finally. We deal in scrap metals and we do very well. I have succeeded in an industry dominated by men. But for 60 years of my life, that's how I have dealt with every crisis, every moment that was the least bit emotional. I have pulled out of myself, withdrawn. I've been emotionally unavailable. Come on, y'all, write it down. For my children. Their father left me not long after my youngest son was born. I'm here because my children begged me to come. They don't know why I've always been so cold, as they put it. I'm here today for them and for me. I don't want to die this way. Having never felt, having never lived, having never shared, I have been emotionally checked out for 60 years. Do you see? Then she whispered, I'll be 65 in July. Please, God, someone help me get free of this horrible burden. It has been so very long. This is my last chance. Whew, I don't know about y'all. I got to check in. I think I need a breather for a moment. How are we doing? Emotionally unavailable. Lady Eve 63. That was deep. Do I have any comments? I know Facebook's going to have some comments. Let me go dig them up. That was deep. Woo. See, I'm a seer. So everything that's red, I see. So I'm picturing it story by story as I go on with this. Anybody else with me? That was deep. Any comments at all?
Facebook is buffering.
Wow. Emotionally unavailable. Can anybody relate with that? Can anyone relate with being emotionally unavailable? There was a young lady that I counsel, and she was telling me how every time she was molested, that she literally somehow checked out of her body and would be hovering over as her molester would have his way with her. And she asked me if I believed her, and I told her I actually heard that is psychologically true, that it's kind of a survival method that our great God has given us in our minds, that most children or people, when they're being murdered or have near-death experiences, that they said that they have literally left their body and have been able to look down at their body to see themselves getting cut up, burned, all kinds of things. Isn't that something? Yes, that is very deep. Very, very deep. And I know that you're on here tonight, and I know that this should ring true to you, that you can literally disappear from a situation and floating on top of your body and watching what goes down. It's a defense mechanism to keep you safe. Becoming numb to everything. I'm with you. That was real big. I know. Papa Bear Spicy, I see you. Special, I see you. Mima, I know. I'm with you. I had to take a breather from that one. That one was very heavy for me. Let me continue on. Let's see what his response is. That was part one of what became a very moving journey for her back to her authentic self. Through the remaining hours of that seminar, and again in another session later on, we focused on teaching her that she could safely let her guard down. Within minutes of her first comments to the group, for example, every person in that room had approached her, and as they had placed an affirming hand on her hand or arm, acts of physical kindness rather than pain, she had responded, first with fear, then with acceptance. There had been tears and murmurs of encouragement and quiet embraces, and she began to check back in to her authentic self in a powerful way. We taught her that she could be vulnerable with people who would not hurt her. We helped her see that she must not feel shame for actions she had no part in and for which she bore no responsibility. Man, let me highlight that. With time, she discovered that she must not take ownership of her stepfather's pathology by splitting into separate personality. She learned that she could take her power back from this man who had so cruelly controlled her life while he was alive and still dominated it in death. The epilogue to this story, once this woman reclaimed her authentic self, it was as if floodgates had opened. Years of pent-up affection, her inborn gift for loving and caring for other people, just erupted from her. Her overjoyed children received a mother they had never known before. She became a volunteer facilitator at subsequent workshops, and her passion for it was a sight to behold. Her own experience taught her who in the room was most resistant, most cold, most in need, and she latched onto those people as her particular project. At seminar after seminar, she became a kind of mother hen, clucking and embracing and loving the stoniest souls in the room until they melted. No matter how shut down, backed up, or embittered they were, she would not let go. She knew from experience where they were, and she went in after them. She absolutely was not going to leave anyone behind. What this woman's experience demonstrates is that just as our self-concept is shaped by a series of defining moments and by a small number of critical choices, it can also be profoundly influenced by this handful of pivotal people whose actions resonate for good or ill throughout the rest of our lives. In her case, A diseased and twisted stepfather set in motion her desperate withdrawal from life. His brutality caused her to slam shut her emotional window. In a tragic and wholly undesirable way, he became pivotal to the development of her self-concept. My God. Are y'all with me tonight? I don't even need an audience tonight. I'm going to get mine. He buried her authentic self, a self that was previously marked by young and fresh hope, optimism, and joy. He buried it beneath a cruel barrage of pain and rejection, denying her value and using her instead to vent his sickness of mind and heart. He became pivotal by poisoning a young and impressionable girl in such a profound way that it altered her for a lifetime, almost. Every person who has ever lived, you included, has a short list of these pivotal people. Once acknowledged, once identified as the source of such powerful impact, the effects that these people have had on you can be dealt with, but not until you get real, brutally real, about the role they have played in your life. Yep. You're going to have to learn to trust again. I'm answering a question on Periscope. You're going to have to learn to trust again. They gave an example of just how they were able to impact this woman, Helen, in a weekend by first getting her past her fear and then getting her to receive the self-acceptance from the group. And little by little by little, through little actions and assessments, acknowledge exactly what she needed to confront. Yep, you become numb after abuse. All right, let's get moving here. Man, oh man, this was big. It is also the case that the pivotal people in your life can be those who give you words of encouragement at critical times, who open up opportunities you don't know exactly, problem you thought had no solution. They can be people who step up at critical times with great acts of courage and support, or can in 1,000 humble, simple ways demonstrate their love and concern for you. Sometimes they are people who recognize in you a particular talent and they inspire you to develop it. They may even be people you don't know very well, but whom you watch from a distance. And the way they live their lives challenge you to live yours with the same qualities. They can be people who love you when you are not very lovable at all. Pivotal people can be found in unexpected places and in unexpected stages of your life. They may be people whose influence is connected to the authority they exercise in a caring and responsible way during your growing up years. On the other hand, they may include someone you encountered today. The influence they've had in your life may be the result of years of steady guidance, day in and day out, or it may be a result of a single act that they themselves will be very unlikely to even recognize. Perhaps they entered your life only for a short time before moving on, yet you still carry today the effects of that encounter. Perhaps predictably, I've observed that successful people, meaning those whose lives are peaceful, well-balanced, and satisfying, tend to identify more heroes or role models among their 5 pivotal people. By contrast, people who live with pain in their lives tend to single out those whose influence was just as significant, just as dramatic, but who were their tormentors. It is also possible, and in fact not at all uncommon, that a successful person may attribute a great deal of positive characteristic to someone whose influence at the time was entirely negative or destructive, yet the person accommodated or adapted their negative experience in a helpful and positive way. In other words, some of the jerks in your life may have actually toughened you up. They may have made you work hard to escape, and in the process, you may have come to appreciate meaningful alternatives. That's a good one right there. And that's something. Meaningful alternatives. I'm not saying it was all worth it, but it builds character you could thank them for. This is absolutely untrue that cruelty and pain are not legitimate teaching tools, no matter how tough or committed they may have made you. What I'm saying is that the problems certain pivotal people may have inflicted on you may have over time tested and refined some of the finest qualities and brought them to the surface. The tuition was likely way too high, but if this is the case in your life and you found a way to create value from the pain, then maybe you have found a meaning in your suffering. With all these considerations in mind, then my question to you, who are the 5 pivotal people in your life? Who are the 5 people who shaped the self-concept that controls your life today, both positive and negative? Who has written on the slate of you? As you think about this question, it may be helpful to look back at the writing that you did from some of the previous chapters on defining moments and critical choices. Your answers there may instantly reveal who belongs on your list of 5 pivotal people. If not, perhaps the mental associations or connections that we've shared can trigger by those writings all these names to come to mind. Some may find this exercise will be a breeze. You may have had a hard time limiting yourself to just 5 names. Alternately, you may find it very difficult to come up with that many. Wherever you find yourself, though, remember, who are you looking for? These are people who have played a unique and substantial role in creating the person you are today. Think of them as 5 individual links in the long chain that leads to who you are at this moment. As you hear this broadcast, think of the 5 individual links in the long chain that leads up to who you are. Every link in that chain is a critical element of it. In other words, if any of these 5 people were to be removed from the chain, the you at the end of the chain would be someone substantially different, a person you yourself might not even recognize. As before, take your journal, carve out some time alone to do this writing. You'll want to be relaxed yet focused as you do the following. 1, list the name of one pivotal person in your life. 2, in 2 separate sections under that person's name, write first a description of the person's actions, and then secondly, the influence that they have had on you. In section 1, first identify with as much detail as you can that person's conduct or behavior that you can now see as pivotal. You will want to use action verbs in order to make it as concrete as possible. For example, Claire, my seminar participant, might begin writing, "For 14 years he thrashed my mother and me with a strap, destroying my sense of self, my sense of value, my sense of dignity." Someone else writing about an adult friend might begin, "She loved and cared about me when I wasn't very lovable. She was coming in the door when everyone else was on their way out. She stood by me when it would have been so much easier not to." Write as long and as detailed a description as you need to and can. You will be amazed what flows from your pen. In the second section, describe the effects that you attribute to that action. What consequences flow from the pivotal person directly to your present day? Examples might begin, "Because I could not bear the humiliation and pain, I checked out of life, anything that involved my emotions, even when my husband and kids were yearning for my emotional self." Or, "Her words of encouragement, spontaneously offered and never judgmental, have caused me to believe that I must have something worth loving, or else such a fine person wouldn't have been there for me. She gave me the patience to make it through some of the tough times I've known, and I've tried to emulate her character in the things that I do today." The value of this exercise depends upon your giving a voice to connections and consequences that may never have expressed in words. By that I mean that the cause and effect relationship between the behaviors of each of your 5 people and the results in your own life and self-concept demand your closest attention as you write. This will be information that you will need to come back to as we go on. So take the time now to do an honest and thorough appraisal in writing of all your pivotal people. Don't be afraid to write down your acknowledgement of a pivotal person's impact on your life for fear that it will galvanize or justify their behavior. I'm not teaching you to play the victim and blame others for who and what you have become. We will soon be dealing with your power to reclaim the power that is yours. But for now, realize that you cannot change what you do not acknowledge. Be real, or you will forever be stuck due to misdiagnosis of what cancer is eating away at your authentic self. Woo! And that's why we need you to be real, Eagle Vision, because we're going to get at this cancer that's forever eating at your authentic self. An important caveat here is that the people who have been pivotal in your life may not fit neatly into either black hats or white hats. Someone may have had a profoundly negative influence on your life, while at the same time having qualities that you appreciate and admire. I recall one patient telling me, for example, how much she admired her father for his extraordinary work ethic, his willingness to take on 2 and even 3 different jobs in order to support his young family. He arrived in the United States almost knowing no English, having little money and no network he could turn to for help. Yet within a few years, he established a comfortable and secure lifestyle for his wife and 3 daughters. On the other hand, she told me her father had also been a stern and difficult parent. And talking about it as adults, the 3 sisters discovered that he had never once told any of them he loved them. And I promise you, no matter how much he may thought he showed it, every one of those girls needed to hear it. Moreover, the academic and career expectations that he placed on all of them were incredibly burdensome, creating emotional and physical stresses that each daughter was still dealing with well into middle age. Certainly, this woman could acknowledge her gratitude and admiration for her father's sacrifices and for the life he had created for them in America. At the same time, however, I can tell you that he will always be on her list of pivotal people, both because he drove her so relentlessly, deprived her of the praise she so desperately needed, and for which she still hungers. Another possibility is that some kind of turnaround occurs in the life of the person who was pivotal. It may be, for example, that an abusive alcoholic mother creates for her daughter a childhood filled with terror, loneliness, and instability. Eventually, however, the mother successfully completes some kind of recovery program and has made a commitment to stay sober. Recognizing the trauma she has created in her daughter's life, the mother actively seeks out ways to repair the relationship. She asks for forgiveness, I gotta highlight this, and does everything she can to become the mother she would have wanted for her daughter. In those circumstances, the daughter might well decide that her mother had been pivotal for wholly positive reasons. She doesn't pretend there weren't lots of dark years growing up. She vividly remembers the pain her mother caused, but none of that should prevent the daughter from identifying her mom as pivotal. If that's what she concludes about the love and character that her mother has demonstrated, the lesson is that your pivotal people may be admirable in all kinds of ways, yet they may have influenced you in an unmistakably negative fashion. Similarly, a person whose rap sheet might be riddled with all kinds of bad deeds may, with a kind word, a gesture of sacrifice, or in some other manner, have affirmed and uplifted you in a life-changing way. You should not think of pivotal as a meaning 100% negative or 100% positive. Do not move on until you have written your responses for both sections described from this chapter as to each of your 5 pivotal people. My. We ended on the top of page 155. Let me check in, because that was a lot of reading that I took us through tonight. But man, that's right. 5 links in the chain of who you are. If any of those links were different or missing, who would you be today with those chains, those links not being there? Thank you, God, for sending positive, pivotal people to help us in our lives. Yes, Apostle, a weekend seminar. All right, YouTubers. What are we saying over here on Facebook? Y'all kind of quiet? You all right? Periscope, what we got going on? Wow, if only. Hallelujah. There have been far too many bad than good. Interesting, I have less than 5. I definitely have more than 5. Making lemonade out of life's lemons. Refining fire. Meaningful alternatives. And a whole lot of amens going down the page. Well, we have to stop here because that was the assignment that we're supposed to be giving to you tonight. Remember that the lesson is to write down your 5 pivotal people. It doesn't matter if they were 100% positive or 100% negative. Your job is to define their place in your life. You have to be real or you will forever be stuck due to misdiagnosis of what cancer is actually eating away at your authentic self. Reminder of the lesson as we close. List the name of one pivotal person in your life. Make 2 sections underneath their name. The first one, write a description of the person's actions. And then secondly, the influence that that person has had on you. That's your assignment. And I'm going to catch up with you all. I hope to get some emails. Just because I don't respond doesn't mean I haven't read them. It just means that I've probably gotten more than 20 and I couldn't respond to all of them in the evening and I didn't want to respond. But okay, thank you. God bless you when some of y'all are pouring your hearts out. I want to thank you to the young man that did send me in a very transparent, clear, eloquently written email telling me that as he suffered divorce and breakup with his wife, he realized that he chose her because of his need to be loved. Remember the 7 critical choices and then the 7 motivating factors behind them? He realized, and he has a greater peace because he realized what he really needed, she could never give him in the first place, because the love that he's going to be pursuing all of his life, if he doesn't get help, is never going to be fulfilled by anything or anyone external. That love he has to work on the inside. And he said if there's nothing else he can work on in these sections, he is vowed to commit himself to working on self-love, because he's been able to do the work to find out that there is a void inside of him. And it's not from a woman and it's not from God. It's from the void of self-love that's going to flow in purity and holiness from God our Father. So I thank you for that young man for sharing that and being honest with us. It was deep and it was real. I pray that that relationship goes according to God's will for both of their lives, and that the children will be counseled and cared for if divorce should happen. But the main thing for this young man to do right now is to continue working on his authentic self, because if you are not going to do the work on yourself, like we just talked about, you're going to have a misdiagnosis of that cancer. And not only are you going to have a misdiagnosis of that cancer, but you're going to keep making choices of the people you choose to be with on your need, your lifelong addiction for love. Remember the lesson? There's a lifelong addiction for love when you do not believe that you have ever been loved. That's heavy, y'all. That's really heavy. I was going over that again today. I'm still, I don't want to say stuck, but I'm still basking in the motivating factors behind some of the choices that I made. And if you believe that you were in a rock and a hard place per se to survive, some of the choices that you have made really came out of your belief that you needed to survive. And the relationships that you grabbed onto because you just never felt loved in your life. So you grabbed a hold of this and you probably poured yourself out to this human being as a drink offering, knowing that that is too much for any one person to bear. And maybe the relationship is gone. Maybe the relationship is over. Maybe it's straggling. This is the time for you to go and tell them that I apologize. In this work that I am doing to finding my authentic self, I realized that when I met you, I expected a love from you that I didn't even have for myself. I'm not telling you this to apologize for anything or to make you feel guilty or that to tell you that I want you back. I'm just letting you know that I've been doing some work on myself. And I am apologizing for making you feel as though everything you did for me and gave me wasn't enough. Because I didn't have, the third survival instinct that I needed. I know it was survival, security, and I believe love. This is who we are, folks. Absolutely. Well, I'm done for the night. I'm looking for your comments. You have nothing to say. I'm looking for emails. I pray that tonight was a blessing to you like it has been for me. You know, I can't even say this night, because as I keep saying, this night, they're all just taking complete control over this work that we have started and getting freer and freer and freer by layers and layers and layers. All right, well, I'm done. I love you all. I thank you for coming on tonight. I agree, Minister Brittany, very good. I need to take these chapters once per week. Absolutely. And the chapters you can't even do once per week. The chapters, well, maybe a week you can if you do it every day, but the chapters are big. Like I said online yesterday, the book may be this big, but the work in this book is really the size of an encyclopedia or a dictionary. So I'm here for you. I'm here to assist you along the way. If you need any help or counsel or advice or anything that we can offer you, we're here. Our phone number is 860-222-9884. The website is www.suzannemhoward.com. And please, I'm always ready to receive your emails at info@suzannemhoward.com. Don't be ashamed. Remember, you don't need to apologize to me, but you will need to apologize to yourself if you don't get this work done. This is life work. When are you going to begin? God bless you. Thank you for tuning in. Have a wonderful night. If you have not given me your address and you have won one of the drawings, please email me as quickly as possible and tell me what I am to do with your winnings. All right, you ready? Get set to go. 3, 2, 1. I wish above all things that you prosper and be in good health, even as your soul prospers. God bless you and good night. Facebook was bad to listen to. You switched to YouTube. Very good. Sylvia, make it happen. Elsie Ramos, good night. I won. I would like the book. Thank you, Lord, for blessing and winning. Yep, just send me your mailing address, please. Please make sure if you have not subscribed, please subscribe to YouTube. I needed to hit 300 for viewers on this this month's broadcast. So please go tell your cousin and them. Go subscribe to the website. Let us make this work happen. All right. God bless you all. I love you. Thank you.